All right, episode 2 of the case study, and the last 2 weeks, so the first 2 weeks of May, we're at over 100,000 orders and sales. Basically, we're in the middle of scaling right now, and I'm gonna break it all down for you, all the changes that we've made, what's working, what's not working, the entire process, and what we're gonna do next. In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down all the technical back-end Shopify type of things that you guys are probably looking to see on this channel specifically, but I'm also documenting this entire journey and the other businesses that I'm running on my second channel that I just started. If you guys are interested in more of that slow pace, but actual day in the life of what it's like to run multiple businesses online, I'd definitely check out that second channel. It's gonna be super sweet, and I'll have that down below in the description. All right, let me get back to the desk and show you guys exactly what happened in the last 2 weeks. All right, cool. So let's get right into it. So we can see here that we're at a gross sale amount of 105,000 with a total sales over time of $98,000. And that is the month to date. So it's basically May 1st to the 15th. And keep in mind, it's actually May 15th right now that I'm recording this. So this is actually probably gonna press over just 100,000 because it's still 5 p.m. right now. So it'll just be about $100,000 in the last 2 weeks. If you guys watched the video before, you can tell that the comparison period, so the last 2 weeks before this one, we started to scale up just a little bit, but now things have really started to fully scale, or at least mid-scale into this brand. So we had limited inventory for a while now, and starting around May 10th, we got a lot of inventory in stock, and we've pretty much solved all of our supply chain issues. So we started to scale up in terms of the advertisements, but that's not the only reason that there's a ton of revenue coming in. There's a bunch of other reasons that have made this more profitable by increasing the conversion rate, which we're gonna actually break down all of the changes to see what you guys need to know while you're scaling your brands yourself. But if we do a quick little overview, so the gross sales we already covered, $105,000. Returning customer rate went down 31%, which makes total sense because we are going to be advertising a lot more to newer people as we scale up the advertisements. Therefore, the customer return rate is obviously going to come down because, again, we are targeting new customers. Orders fulfilled doesn't really matter. 1,000 orders in the last 2 weeks, up 62%. So if we scroll down even further, we can see the average order value is up 26%. So there were a bunch of big changes, which I'm going to be covering later on, that were made to increase our average order value. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically just the average order value. I don't really know how to explain that even further. So in the easiest terms, it's people buying more than one product, which increases that average order value. And then total sales by channel, most are still coming from online store. Some are on Facebook Shop, so $2.9 thousand there. Shop also has $882, but the majority of it are people checking out on the website. Conversion rate breakdown is up 36%, so now floating at a 4.06, which is pretty solid actually. It's not too bad at all. I'd like to get it more to a 5, but that's gonna take a little bit of time and scaling efficiently as well. We are advertising solely on Meta, so most of the sales are coming from Facebook and Instagram. There is some Google search, which I also will talk about a little bit later on. And then obviously some email marketing coming in as well. So those are the analytics. I'm going to break down the profit margins of the last 2 weeks with you guys later on in the video, but I wanted to cover the changes that we've made over the last couple weeks or so to actually improve all these things as we get ready to scale even further. How I always explain all the changes that can be made in e-commerce or drop shipping, no matter what it is, as long as you're running a Shopify store, especially when I'm talking to students in Conversion Club. And of course, if you guys want to sign up for that, it is extremely low price. We do live coaching calls every single day. I'll have that down below in the description if you want to check it out. But the thing that's so important that a lot of people don't understand is that you need to be consistently improving your website, your advertisements, your ad creatives, testing new upsell offers, changing prices, changing shipping prices, changing the overall flow and website and the way it looks, upsells, everything. There's so many different things that you can actually change to improve your margins. What I always like to say is that there's, 100 different variables that you can always be changing and always be testing, and each of them individually probably won't make a massive impact, especially to conversion rate or the actual income that you're producing in terms of margin, but all of them add up. If you change one thing like an upsell and your upsell rate goes from 25% to 28%, at your bottom line, it's not going to be too much more money in your pocket, but when you couple that with the other 10 to 15 things that you can change, they all add up. And same with conversion rate. If you're making a ton of changes to your website, you're A/B testing, it seems really, really minuscule in terms of income actually coming in. It's because you have to do them all over time. And when they do, things like this happen. So your conversion rate goes up 36%, your total sales over time goes up 99%, and everything just adds up and it puts more money inside your pocket. With that being said, let's talk about all the changes that I've made since the last video. All right, so the first on the list is a brand new website build. So before it needed some work. Okay, and so we went in and revamped the entire website. I will show you a before. So this is the website before. We're gonna look at this in desktop view as well. So this is the website, nothing too crazy. A lot of things are out of shape, misaligned. The font's a little bit outdated. And then more specifically, if we go into a product landing page here, then we can click on one of these. Let's click on this one. You can see that it just is not fully optimized. I mean, most people are on mobile, but let's take a look at it. A lot of these image sizes are different. There's a lot of awkward spacing. Price placement's a little bit awkward with the pay interest installments here as well. The sizing, the quantity, this is, obviously overlapping at the top there. It just doesn't look like a premium website. And then if you scroll further and further, it's just very, very simple and basic. So we did a full website revamp, which I think greatly increases your conversion rate. A lot of beginners really try to get out the website as fast as possible, which can be a good thing. You want to get familiar with the system in terms of Shopify, but you really want to spend a good amount of time building out the website and making it look nice and modern, because that's really like the first step that they get on after your advertisement. Your advertisement convinces them to click and your website convinces them to purchase. So you kind of have to think of it as the salesman. You don't really want a sloppy salesman. You want a good presentation. Now let's go back and take a look at the redone website. This is still going to change. It's not that you're going to keep a website forever. Things are going to be updated as we get more content for the brand, as well as getting more custom HTML. And I don't know what I'm saying. I don't code, but things will always be changing and always be improving. But the homepage obviously looks quite a bit better. This theme that I switched the website to is actually the premium theme that's completely free in the store builder. I'll have that down below in the description if you want to grab it. And it converts very, very well. So that is the homepage. But if we go into the product page, you can see here, we're going to go into this one, Commander-in-Chief, and it just looks a bit cleaner. Change the logo as well. This is way more tidy. It took a little bit of inspiration from Bad Birdie, so that would be a competitor technically, of the way that they laid out their website. This is fully solid and a little bit cleaner. Add to cart, everything just looks a little bit more professional and tightened up. So there's a lot of room to still improve here. But overall, the website, in terms of the coloring, the structure, the layout, the quality of the images, the sizing of everything is so much better, which is helping with that conversion rate. The next change that was made was setting up all of the email flows and creating them in a way that was actually like a decent design. Again, they still need more change to them, but all the flows are now properly set up, which is super, super important, because you're supposed to receive about 30% of revenue coming from email flows, especially when you start to scale up and have a higher amount of traffic. So I'm not going to go into every single flow one by one and break down everything for you, because it's quite a bit boring, to be honest with you, but we'll cover the welcome series. And you can see that the welcome series generated in the last 7 days about $4,000 in sales. So we'll click into this one and I'll show you how the flow is set up. So there's a conditional trigger. So when someone's added to the newsletter, it's a conditional split. If they've purchased before, so they're a returning customer, they get put into this email flow, which is just one email. If they have not purchased yet and they sign up for the newsletter, they get placed into this flow. So if we take a look at this and we scroll down, so you can see this is the email that I designed here. It's still not perfect. I'm honestly not the best designer in the world, but it's way better than what we had up before, and it's converting at a much higher rate as well. You definitely need to have your email flows set up, especially if you are a beginner and you're just trying to scale your store or even testing some things out. If you don't have your email flows set up properly, you're essentially wasting money on your ad spend, because there's going to be so many people that go to checkout and then they end up not purchasing from you, and then you collect their email but you do nothing with it. You can win those customers back, and then that ad spend does not end up going to waste. So you should have some form of email flow up. And if you don't have custom content like we do, I mean, either go out and shoot it or do the best that you can to build it to make it look pretty nice. So what happens is they get the first welcome email if they've never purchased, and they get a discount code for 10% off. Then the email flow waits for 1 day. And then if they haven't purchased still, they get placed in the second email flow. And then if they did purchase, they actually get removed from that flow and placed somewhere else. Welcome email 2 is the founder story. So it's not even just, buy the stuff right now. Again, like, please come back to your cart. It's more about the brand and about us. Then the flow is going to wait for 3 days, do the exact same conditional split, which would be if they made a purchase, they'll get placed somewhere else. If they still haven't purchased, they're going to move on to the next email. And so the next email is welcome email number 3, which is educate about the product, and then a discount reminder. This is where I break down Haven polos and why they're better than other polos. And it's not just a drop shipping brand. It is more than that. It's branded. And all the products are completely custom and actual premium, quality of goods. So then I talk about that a little bit. And then there's some more CTAs in terms of like remembering to claim your discount if you want to make a purchase. After that, if they still haven't purchased, it waits for 4 days. Another split, which is if they haven't purchased or not. They get a social proof and discount reminder. So these are all of the reviews that have came in. kind of consolidated, and then also an Instagram CTA in terms of like following the Instagram to help build that up as well. But also at the same time, it's not just about building up that Instagram account, it's also about providing social proof that it is a real brand. People actually tag the products in the Instagram account, and it's not just some random drop shipping or no ship type of scam on the internet that they found from an ad. After that, it'll wait for 3 more days, and then it gets the next email, which is email number 5. So if they didn't buy the product already, you plant a little bit of fear, basically saying that we're usually sold out. A little bit more different of an email design here. Still need to clean this up quite a bit. Hopefully by this point they'll come back and purchase, but for now they're going to move into the next flow for 4 days later. And then also we'll see welcome email 6, which is the last one, because you don't want to spam them too much for the rest of their life in terms of email marketing. And now it's more of like a sadness. It's, why didn't you buy our golf pillows? What do you not like about it? And maybe they'll reply, maybe not, but it's kind of like the last shot effort, or last ditch effort. Again, I'm not going to cover all of the email flows because it would take forever to go fully through, and we do need to redesign some of them quite a bit, but for now it's obviously made a massive improvement. And again, you should be trying to hit that target of 30% revenue coming from email marketing. The next change that was made to increase conversion rate, or at least help with the content since the last video, was we did another photo shoot where Miranda and I were actually the models of the photo shoot. It obviously wasn't a paid gig, or I guess kind of, but they turned out pretty nice. We just had a videographer and photographer come over, unboxed a bunch of polos, took them over to the golf course that we live on and shot some photos. Also did some vlogging stuff for the second channel, giving you guys a little bit of a behind the scenes look of building out this brand. Another big change that was made, and probably the most impactful besides having more inventory in stock, was advertising testing and also moving to scaling campaigns. So if you can see here, just to give you guys a little bit of a hint of the profit breakdown, which I'll cover later on in the video. If we go from May 1st to May 15th, obviously the day is still going on. We spent about $27,000 and almost $28,000 in Facebook advertising. So this is a brand new campaign right here. This is the CBO scaler. Now that we have inventory, this was the main funnel and flow, but this one we're starting to scale up to actually use a CBO to scale. So what I did here was take all of the main funnel and a couple other creative testing that I was doing, and the ones that were winning, I plugged it into a CBO to scale. So you can see in here, there are a ton of different ad campaigns in here, and it's letting Facebook decide where to place them. And I normally have not been the biggest fan of CBOs over time in terms of scaling up the store. I always would duplicate campaigns in order to scale or spend more money on Facebook. But lately, Facebook has been making a ton of changes to their platform. And if you go back to a video of mine in 2022, I believe, when iOS 14.5 came out and Facebook started doing terrible in terms of like targeting because of the privacy updates, I was saying that it's a long-term play and they're going to figure it out, and we're essentially buying their data to improve their algorithm. I mean, that's a little bit deep. You don't have to think about that too much. But what I'm trying to say is that Facebook has gotten way, way better at interest targeting without using interests. You really just have to go broad, and also CBO is being pushed really heavily. So that's what we're going to be doing scaling forward. You can see the comparison between in the last 14 days, the main funnel is at $29 cost per purchase, and the CBO already with a fourth of the spend is just below that. So even if it maintains the same level of conversion rate and cost per purchase, that's totally fine, because it's giving Facebook so many different opportunities to continue to optimize with all the different creatives that are put in there. So now this one's currently ramped up to about $1,700 a day, and I keep increasing it day over day, and this is going to be probably the main scaling funnel. And there's also some other creative testing going on, and also some traffic campaigns to get some more followers on Instagram. Any creative that I'm testing that turns out to be good in terms of metric wise or in terms of cost per purchase, I'm actually just going to be duplicating them and plugging them into the CBO, and then adding more budget into that CBO. Now, I'm not going to break down the entire ad strategy because that could be a whole video by itself, and I've got that on my channel already. All right, so the next change that was made basically was inventory management, but it's essentially just optimizing the supply chain more. So forecasting demand a little bit better, and then also being able to actually sell the product, because if we don't have any product in stock, then we can't sell it, and then we can't scale. So we've gotten a lot better at that. We're moving into Zendrop's 3PL as well. So they're going to be handling all of the fulfillment and shipping out the products in like a 1 to 3 day shipping time. And especially now that tariffs are paused, we can pretty much order anything on on rush shipping right now without a problem at all. Because before we had to bulk order and place the orders before tariffs because of the price increases from the tariffs from China. But now it's open for the next at least 90 days. We can essentially scale as quickly as possible without really trying to overdo it. And if inventory starts running low, we can just do a rush shipment because the product cost is not going to go up too much compared to what it was during the tariffs. The next change that was made, or was more of like a testing, was the upsell testing. So I'll go into the cart here and remove some stuff, but I was looking at some different offers that we could possibly place, and let's just go into men's and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So if we go into the dandelion and then we add this polo to the cart, I was testing a bunch of different offers in terms of how much of a percent you get off or versus a USD amount. Once I switched it up and changed the USD amount to $25 off instead of a percentage, the conversion rate in terms of upsells started to increase. And I believe that's because people don't really want to do the math to figure out what 15% off is. And also so many companies already do 10, 15% off, especially with email signups. So to see it again, you kind of have to do math twice because you're like, okay, I'm gonna add one more polo and get another 15% off, but I already have a 10% off coupon. And it kind of just makes it less tangible in their minds of what the product cost is actually gonna turn out to be. And I think that can be a little bit off-putting if you're trying to increase your conversion rate. So a flat rate of like a number dollar-wise off, I think converts, or actually I can prove that it converts better. So switch that up for the in-cart upsell. And so, add one more polo. So any of these that you can add onto your cart, or you can add a completely different one, you'll get $25 flat off plus the 10% or the 15% coupon that you received. And that is one of the main reasons why you see an average order value over time up 25%. It's because of the increase in conversion rate from the upsells. Upsells are extremely important because anytime that you get someone to purchase more than one item on your store, you're only paying for that advertisement cost per purchase once, but you're essentially selling 2 items. So even if you give them a discount, if that discount beats your average cost per purchase, then you are technically making more money. Another change that was made similar to the upsell is the post-purchase upsell. So the app that I'm using for the post-purchase is the Aftersell by Rocket. And I don't really like this app, to be honest with you. So probably gonna switch it up. I only implemented it a few days ago. It's at $713 in terms of revenue. But if you don't know what this is, it's pretty straightforward. It's post-purchase. So if someone makes a purchase, then they get a discounted offer on the thank you page to try to add more items to their order. That's pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy about it. It's a great app to have. It's very similar to having an upsell, but post-purchase, they're already qualified to purchase and they might purchase another item. Again, not the biggest fan of this app, but we just have it on here for now. I'm probably going to be switching it up. All right, so we're almost done with the changes here. And let me know if this is boring you guys or not, but I think it's pretty educational. Another change that was made was adding the new review app. So a lot of review apps like use Looks or like a Judge.me and those kind of like basic ones, but specifically for this brand, because it is clothing, I basically just stole Bad Birdie's review app. I didn't steal it, but I just use the same one as them. It's a good looking review app, especially if you're running a clothing brand. So if you go down here, the product reviews, it shows you all the reviews, but it also shows the features of like the size, the fit, the product quality, and you can fully set up this survey when people are setting up their reviews or writing their reviews. And so they have to put in the size, is it true to size, run small or large, the fit, too loose, too tight, product quality, good, excellent, or poor. And look at that, we're landing right around the excellent level, which is fantastic, which is why you see such a high customer return rate from us, because it's a custom product with high quality material that's expensive. It's not just some cheap drop shipping product, to be honest with you. And also the reviews just look nice. It's a really clean layout, so that was switched up, and I think it has like a little bit more of a premium feel. All right, so the last update that was implemented before we go into the profit margin for this, because I know everyone wants to see that, I updated all of the Google Search Console information to make sure everything was firing correctly and indexing correctly. And if you don't know what this is, and you might be brand new to e-commerce or drop shipping, it's basically a software / app by Google that you link your website to, and it helps you optimize SEO. So your search engine optimization. As it gets better and better, you get more organic clicks from search coming from Google, which is free marketing essentially. And you can see here that we've been ramping it up quite a bit, even from these months here, like February and March and April. You can see it's really starting to trickle upward. And then obviously while scaling, you're going to get a little bit more Google search, which really helps your search engine optimization the more paid ads that you have running. If we click into the performance, you can see the last 3 months, it's just starting to go up and up. So impressions are a little bit lower from here because this was the Masters going on right here. So there was more of a search for golf products and obviously trickled back down a little bit. But the click to impression ratio is actually going up quite a bit. I'm not going to cover too much about Google Search Console. You should have it set up, and it's way more important when you are starting to scale up. But if you're a beginner, I wouldn't really worry about this too much, but just write this down on like a notepad or something for when you are scaling up your store. It's something really good to look into and have set up properly. All right, so those are all the changes that have been made since the last video. Things are going extremely well. We're up 99% now because I think sales are still coming in as we speak for the last 2 weeks. But now let's break down what everyone wants to see, which is the profit margin of the business. All right, so for just 2 weeks, we are at a total sale amount of $98,576. All right, so the most expensive cost is obviously advertising at now it updated to $28,015. So let's subtract that there. So we're at $70,000 so far. So going into the finance summary, the returns account for about almost $2,000. So $1,952 over this period. The cost of goods sold, so the actual product cost of all of the units shipped out, is $14,820. That brings us down to $53,864. Now we have to include the shipping costs. This is kind of hard to break down because it depends when the shipments are going out, but it's just kind of like an average. So the total cost was $4,030. And for Shopify processing fees, it's all pretty variable and it's hard to like kind of dig into, but it's basically 30 cents plus 2.7% of all orders. So it comes out to like an average of like $3. So if I multiply that by the order amount, I'll top by 3, so 3,081. And then even just to be like super safe, again, like in the last video, I'm just not trying to break it down piece by piece based on shipping labels and product used for like returns and that specificness, but like Shopify apps and Shopify regular plan at like $79 a month, and then apps are like, you know, maybe 500 total. But to be like super safe, we'll just do like $1,000, and I think that's a little bit overestimating. That puts the total net profit margin of the last 2 weeks at about $45,753, give or take maybe about $1,000, which dividing that by the total sales amount is about a 46% profit margin, which I think is pretty much spot on as it was in the last video. So that's what's happened since the last video. As we scale this brand up as high as we possibly can, the next video should be kind of crazy because of the amount of money that we're spending on advertisements and also the way that we're scaling it up, setting up the 3PL, faster shipping times. We can also start charging different shipment amounts and different costs associated with those. And there are a lot of other changes that we are going to be making. We're going to be adding a ton of new designs as well, but mainly the biggest change is going to be scaling up the advertisements efficiently as possible and trying to get to that $300,000 to $500,000 milestone. And then after that, we're going to be trying to push to the $1 million a month milestone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this breakdown. It might have been quick, it might have been higher level, but these are definitely some things that you need to know about and pay attention to, even if you're a complete beginner, because once you start diving into the weeds and you start making your first couple sales, these are all the things that you need to optimize and think about moving forward. I hope that this video was helpful for you guys. And even during this video, I think we got about like 20 sales or so coming through. So super excited to scale this up as high as possible. I hope that this video gave you guys a little bit of inspiration and also kind of an understanding of what it's like to actually run the brand. And the beauty of it is that you can do this completely behind your laptop for the most part, which is why I'm so excited to start the second channel as we go travel throughout Europe. We're going to be gone for about 4 months or so, and I'm going to be documenting not only just this brand, but all of the other businesses that I'm working on in like more of a business travel vloggy type of lifestyle that I'm actually living on a day-to-day basis. So if you guys are interested in that, I think it's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna be really chill, but like more of my actual real personality. If you guys are interested in that, make sure to check out that channel, the second one down below. It'll be in the description. Also, don't forget to join Conversion Club if you want to learn and break down this stuff day by day. We do daily live coaching calls as well, so we can help you guys out scale as high as possible, even if you're a beginner. Again, I hope this was super transparent for you guys, maybe even too transparent in certain ways. I hope you guys take this as inspiration, as it's very possible to do this. The only thing thing that you have to do is start and learn. There is a good learning curve, but it is totally worth it. I've been doing this for over 6 years now, and I cannot imagine my life if I didn't just open up my first dropshipping store. I'd probably be in a cube somewhere, maybe in LA. But instead, I'm about to go on like a 4 or 5, 6 month trip throughout Europe, and then we're gonna go out into the Middle East, and then we're gonna go out into Asia, probably Hawaii, and then come back here, maybe buy a house after, who knows. But anyway, I hope you guys like this breakdown, and thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the second channel if you want to see more of an in-depth look. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.